Good morning, everyone. I would like to welcome you here to the City Hall, and this is your home. This is the Madrid City Hall, where I am also accompanied by representatives and speakers from all other political groups. I mean, spokespeople from other political groups. And of course, we have to do everything we can to collaborate, to cooperate in this topic. When we talk about genital mutilation, feminine genital mutilation, we always have the feeling that it is a topic that even if it's extraordinarily severe, that it causes suffering towards the integrity of all women that live it as a threat, that live it. It seems that it is not perceived as a threat. It looks like the society is not as worried as it should be. And I wonder what would happen if instead of talking about a genital mutilation, we talked about, women being cut their arms or women being blinded. What does this mean? This means that we live in a society that hasn't recognized yet the huge transcendence, the huge weight of sexuality, of sex in human beings. It is not something else. It is something that is an inherent part of the integrity of a human being, something that completes them and defines them. So that's why I cannot refrain myself from doing these comparisons. What would happen if we were cutting women's arms or turning them blind? We would deprive them from, we are depriving them from sexuality, from their sexual organs, recognition of their maturity, and that is horrible. And this is something we have to reflect upon, and we have to be willing to do everything we can to change it, and you are here exactly for that. So thank you, enjoy the time here, make the most of the time here, and infuse the society with the feeling and the certainty that this is horrible, that the mutilation is something that has to disappear. Thank you very much, and I wish you the best of success and the best of luck in your efforts. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Since we are running a little late, this table, that is the first table, I have to say that in the bags that we've given you, you will find a guide, and here I'm going to introduce the guide. I'm going to give the floor to Martín Peña, the Vice-Chancellor of the Rey Juan Carlos University, who will be chairing and introducing this conference, this international conference. After Carmena's speech, I have to open the academic conference. I'm going to do it on behalf of the Rey Juan Carlos University. I'm accompanied by Adriana, Kaplan, and Nuño, the directors of the conference. So I'm going to give you the context of this conference within a European context that was created last year by the European Union within an appeal for a call for papers for combating violence against youth and women linked to harmful practices. And this project was included in, or is comprised of 9 proposals, and within the framework of the Spanish state, this one was the chosen one in February 2016 for a duration of 2 years. This consortium that is led by the Rey Juan Carlos University also comprises other institutions, for example, the Wassu Foundation, the Roma 3 Foundation, the University Institute of Lisbon, and the Brick University Brussels. And we have invited many experts on genital mutilation. This consortium thinks that it is strategically urgent the multisectorial academic training of professionals so that they can get in contact with victims of genital mutilation. We have to work in 3 lines. We have to develop teaching materials that will be disseminated in this conference, and the multisectorial guide on genital mutilation that has been translated to 6 languages. It includes general topics and specialized topics, nursing, medicine, law, etc. Another line is academic teaching. The guide will be the basis for the training of at least 500 students of 5 pilot universities in Europe. This number will increase because, for example, the Rey Juan Carlos University, that has 40,000 students, has included a compulsory activity for all students in a subject called accessibility and non-discrimination. And this training will have a duration of 10 hours and will be compulsory and graded. It will be assessed. And then we will organize 4 international conferences. This is the first one of a series of 4. And I have to highlight the important dissemination task for genital mutilation on the part of the institutions that work on this conference. I have to thank the directors that are working here for their efforts. I'm sure it will be a great success. So I hope you will have a fruitful cooperation in these 2 days. Thank you. So if we follow the program, now I'd like to thank you for your presence and also the presence of the municipal people, the municipal representatives, because this is something the institutions have to do, not just the associations. And also the SLAY, Mikel Afuzak and his team that also work in the consortium for this program. I have to talk about some logistical announcements. You've been given some questionnaires that will be then collected during the break. This is the introduction session, so maybe you can fill them out now. And then the attendance certificates, you can collect them after the end of the conference. As you know, we have published a guide, and it was thanks to the Citizenship, Rights and Equality program of the European Union. And it's funded by a program of the European Union, where the Rey Juan Carlos and 5 other European universities are participating. The Wassu Foundation, University of Barcelona, Roma 3 University, the Lisbon University Foundation, the Free University Brussels. So why this guide? Because feminine genital mutilation, FGM, and gender equality have intervention problems. The magnitude of FGM, that I'm sure you all know, the estimations are that by 2050, 63 million women might have been subjected to this practice, and 70,000 in Spain. So it is inevitable to intervene, but how are we intervening? We're not intervening in a criminal way because we are running too late. If we put someone in jail after doing this to a woman, so that's too late. You know that we are working hard with migration policies, with other practices, with other trainings, but some people don't know what to do. For example, students or education experts or hospital staff. So this guide wants to include this training in universities so that the future experts, the nurses and the doctors and the teachers-to-be will know awareness-raising strategies. Of course, it is based on a gender approach and multiple discrimination approach. So in that sense, the guide is an innovative project because there wasn't any guide on this topic. There are some sectorial guides, anthropology guides or gender guides, but not a multisectoral guide. So this has been a huge success. And it was the result of the generosity of the whole group, contrasting visions, contrasting approaches. You know that the different disciplines are based in different sources. So, for example, law or gender or anthropology have different sources. And thanks to the efforts of all the group, this guide has been published with a very plural approach, because gender inequality, gender violence, or FGM can not only be addressed with just one approach. It is impossible. All of you who work on these subjects, on these topics, know that already. And to sum up, I have to say that the project, apart from the student training, which is a pilot experience with 500 students and 150 teachers, because teacher training is going to be the future of this training. If we don't have trainers who are knowledgeable in this, it won't be reality in the universities. And in the Rey Juan Carlos University, we're going to train those for 40,000 students on gender violence, and on mutilation, because otherwise it will be forever stigmatized. If they don't know anything about mutilation, they will stigmatize it. And then we're going to organize these 4 conferences I was mentioning. The first one is this one about socio-cultural and legal aspects, and then we will have a quarterly newsletter, and then a video will be published in 6 languages for raising awareness among the population in general. And I don't want to leave without saying many thanks. The guide has been drafted in less than 1 year, thanks to a notable effort of synthesis, of understanding, and reaching agreements. And this was possible thanks to all the teams involved and the people that have worked on this guide, 23 men and women. And special thanks go to the organizers Nora Salas and Magali Thiel, who have made all the efforts to try and convene us all, which is not easy because we're all used to getting to stage and explaining our arguments. So reaching an agreement with all of us is a big task. So thank you, Magali and Nora. And with that, I'll give the floor to my colleague. Good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, Vice Chancellor, Co-Director, political parties, dear colleagues, dear friends, in this project, in this guide, there's not much left to say. Thank you for being here, for showing an interest in this topic, which is very complex and difficult and hard and ill-treated. I understand that the interest is not limited to this conference. and that you will be able to learn about the experiences that will be shown in this stage, that they will make you reflect on the importance of working on that topic, the protocols that exist in Spain. There are 100 protocols in Spain. They are important. They pave the way, but they need to be filled with knowledge. And the health workers, teachers, those who work in the education field need to be aware of those, because they are in contact with families. They are opening channels for communication with families. As Laura said, there are other guides. There's one guide that was published in 2004, a guide for professionals in FGM, edited by the University of Barcelona, that is addressed to healthcare workers with interesting contents. But this project offers sustainability because it will be introduced in the academic curricula of universities, so that students